Really quickly, Jonathan Lemire, before we go to the news grind, you and I have talked an awful lot about Pennsylvania, and I've believed that of all the swing states, that other than Michigan, I thought Pennsylvania was Biden country, and that Biden would end up winning this. A good friend of ours, Vicky, just sent us the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer this morning, which says that actually Trump is strengthening in northeast Pennsylvania in those Philly suburbs. So I guess we can expect those. I mean, that's Chris Matthews territory. We need to get Chris to give us some insights on that.
Yeah, we should.
But I expect those Philly suburbs to be a real battleground based on the front page of the Inquirer this morning.
Pennsylvania has always been interesting, Joe. You and I have talked a lot about this. And let's flash back to 2016. Obviously, Hillary Clinton did well in the big cities, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, though not quite at the margins, particularly with black voters, as Barack Obama did. She also did well in the suburbs, but Donald Trump was able to rack up huge margins in sort of these exurban and rural counties throughout Pennsylvania. They had an impressive ground game and voter turnout operation there, and he won very narrowly, but won. And going into this race, Michigan from day one was the one that the Trump camp thought they'd have the hardest time keeping, and that has proven out. They've all but written it off, although they've started to play there again a little bit in the last couple of weeks out of desperation, if nothing else. But Pennsylvania was next. They felt pretty good about Wisconsin. But Pennsylvania, because of Joe Biden, who is a Pennsylvania native, whose message was so well tailored to the sort of white working class voters and working class voters of color in the state, as well as obviously an effort to boost turnout among voters of color and in the cities. But so far, Biden's up, but it's remained stubborn. And I should note, Joe, that since 2018, there's been a real increase in Republican voter registration in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign feels really good about that. They feel like that there are more voters there potentially for him in that state, which is now about a 50-50 registration. And this may be a moment where, Joe, we see Pennsylvania in cycles to come potentially start to tilt red. But right now, Joe Biden, because of who he is going to be able to hang on to it for Democrats one last cycle. But it's certainly going to be close. It's going to be one of the tightest battlegrounds going forward. And the Trump camp is throwing a ton of resources into it because they know they're having trouble in other states. And you mentioned it. Arizona, for them, is a bright red warning light. They're scared about Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona is slipping out of their hands right now, it seems. Same thing with Michigan. And of course, we're not talking about this in March or April. We're talking about this now. Early voting is coming upon us. So actually, these numbers really start to matter very soon. In Arizona, they have got to turn things around. They've got to turn things around. In Michigan, they've got to lock down Texas. Georgia, also a big problem for them. North Carolina, early voting begins very soon as well, down 4 points there. If you're the Trump campaign, you've got so many moving targets, it's hard to figure it out. But I will say, in Pennsylvania, again, that seems like Joe Biden's state. That seems like the state that's going to help him lock things up. But I can't help but remember back to 2000 when if Al Gore had helped, had actually carried his home state of Tennessee, he would have been president of the United States. So it is, you never know how these things are going to turn out. There's a long way to go, but looks like the suburbs of Philly, as always, are going to be a real battleground in the last couple of months of this campaign. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.